Hey guys, today we're going to talk about a new idea, how to divide with fractions. So we're going to focus on lesson 4-6, and we're going to divide whole numbers by fractions. And today's date is 10/11/19. Okay, so you're going to hear some steps, and they're going to sound in the beginning a little familiar to what we did with multiplication, and then it's going to change up a little bit. Okay, so here we go. Step 1. You must have two fractions. So same thing we talked about with multiplication. You can't have whole numbers and you can't have mixed numbers. So let's contend with that. If we have a whole number, it's super simple to make it a fraction by giving it a denominator of 1. So we have 2 is going to become 2/1. So all we're going to do is give a whole number a denominator of 1. Okay? And then mixed number, we can't multiply by that either, so we're going to convert it to an improper fraction. Okay, and so for example, if I have 4 2/3, I'm going to multiply 3 times 4, which is 12, and add the numerator 2, and 12 plus 2 is going to give me 14, and then the denominator stays the same. So 3 times 4 plus 2 all over 3. 12 plus 2 all over 3. 14 over 3. So that is it. But here is the funny bit. Even though we're going to call it dividing by fractions, or dividing, mixed numbers or whole numbers, whatever, with fractions, we're actually not going to do division. I know this is strange. So what we're going to do, and again, this is all prepping. I'm going to yell at you a little bit through your notes so you understand the seriousness of this. We're going to do nothing to the first fraction. Oops, try that again. Oops, hello. Come on, fraction, there we go. Okay, so I'm going to give you an example of a problem. Let's say that we have a whole number. So let's have 5, and we want to divide it by 2/3. So according to this step, I'm going to rewrite the number 5. Okay, so I do nothing to the first fraction. Okay, let's see what happens next. I'm going to yell at you again. Division. Oh, I didn't yell. What's wrong with me? Let's get the yelling going. Division becomes multiplication. Oops, there is capital. So the division is going to become multiplication. All right, let's see. But I can't just change an operation and then that answer makes sense. So I'm going to end up making 2 changes. Nothing happens to the first fraction. The changing begins when I get into, I picked the wrong color. After I do my multiplication, I change it. Then I have to change what comes after him. So we're going to take the reciprocal that guy and box him because he's a really important word, of the second fraction. So reciprocal means to do a flip. We're going to flip it, so that's what I'm right here. Flip it. Okay, so then 2/3 becomes 3/2. Okay, so let's just do some practice underneath here. So if I have 1/2, the reciprocal is 2/1. Notice I can't write an equal sign here because no one would agree that 1/2 and 2 are the same. Okay, if I have 2/3, like we have in our example, the reciprocal is 3/2. If I'm given a mixed number, I need to first change it into an improper fraction. So I can write equals, because I get 2 times 1 is 2 plus 1 is 3. 3/2 is identical to 1/2. Now I can take the reciprocal of 3/2, which is 2/3. Okay? And here's what's interesting about reciprocals. Are you ready for this one? If I take reciprocals and I multiply them together, oops, sorry. I'm sorrying a lot tonight. I'm going to multiply them together. I get 2/2, or that simplifies down to 1/2. Let's see if that happens here. If I take 2/3 and multiply it by 3/2, I get 6/6, which is the same as 1/2. Okay, if I take 3/2 times 2/3, that gives me 6/6, which is the same as 1/2. Ooh. So this is a property, and a property is a rule that always works. So this is the property called the inverse property of multiplication. And a fancy way of, or the non-fancy way, is multiplying reciprocals always, let's box that word up. I like it when it's, and it's like sometimes, no, always equals 1. Isn't that fantastic? Okay, now that's 4 steps, but now we have this multiplication problem, this 5 times 3/2. What do we do now? Well, we remember back to the lessons we just have been covering. 5th step, we're going to multiply the fractions. So you just need to see the notes for lesson 4-2 to lesson 4-4, okay? And remember we talked about you could try to cross-cancel first any common factors with any numerator to any denominator, then multiply, or you could just multiply them and then simplify. Now, I don't know why I wrote so big, but guess what? I'm still supposed to be on the first page of my composition notebook, but I'm going to need to switch my screen to a clean page because I wrote very large. So, voila, let's finish that. So after we multiply, remember what we have to do at the end. Always, some more yelling, reduce the final answer. Now remember what reducing is. When I reduce the final answer, I'm dividing out any common factors. The only time I must convert to a mixed number is if it's an answer that has a label. It's in a real world situation. Okay? So again, I'm going to write that here. You may convert improper fractions to mixed numbers if necessary. You don't need to, unless, there you go, this is when you must do it. You must convert word problem answers because they have labels. No 3/2 pounds of shrimp, remember 1.5 pounds. Okay? Now, for me, this ended my first page of the notes, and then I have some examples to do. Now, you might be able to put it all on one page because I know some of you are writing small. Some of you may need to go to a third page. I don't know. I'm going to just continue, and you can put it wherever it ends up. All right, so our examples. First off, we're going to just talk about find the reciprocal. So we're going to practice that piece of dividing fractions. So if I have 1/7, my reciprocal is going to be flip it 7/1, or if you simplified it, just be 7. Okay? So either one of those would be okay. All right, let's try another one. I'm going to give you 4. Now, some people are like, I can't flip that because I don't know. But wait a second. Oh, wait. Do I know? Yes, I do. I can rewrite 4 is 4/1. Then I can go ahead and flip that. So when I flip it, I get 1/4. Okay? That's how simple it is. All right, let's do 2 practice problems, and then you are set. Directions on these are going to say divide. So we have 2 divided by 4/5. So let's review the rules. Number 1, do I have 2 fractions? The answer is no. So I'm going to go ahead and create a fraction from my whole number by giving it a denominator of 1. Okay, so that's step 1. Step 2 says, okay, we're going to go ahead and we're going to keep that first fraction. So we're going to have 2/1. Then it says we're going to change from division to multiplication. Okay, and I'm using the dot symbol for multiplication. Then it says take your second fraction and write its reciprocal, 5/4. Voila! Now you know me, I like to try to cross-cancel if I can. So I notice that on this diagonal there's a 2 and a 4. 2 goes into itself once evenly and into 4 twice. Now I just multiply straight across. 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 2 is 2. This isn't a word problem, so I can leave my answer just like that. However, if I wanted to convert to a mixed number, I do division. 2 goes into 5 twice, which is 4, with 1 left over. And I get the mixed number answer of 2.5. Choice is yours. All right, let's try another one. 5 divided by 2/7. So we have the same problem we did on the last one. I need to convert 5 into a fraction by giving it a denominator of 1. Okay, now I'm going to keep the first fraction the same. I'm going to change division to multiplication, and I'm going to take the reciprocal of the second fraction, so 7/2. Now this one's interesting. I don't see any cross-canceling, so I'm just going to multiply straight across. Numerator times numerator. 5 times 7 is 35. 1 times 2 is 2. I can't simplify that. Even number can't go into that odd number. So there's my answer, 35 halves. Now, if I wanted to convert it to a mixed number, I'm going to do a little math off to the side. 2 goes into 3 once. With 1 left over, bring down the 5. 2 goes into 15 7 times, which is 14, and 1 left over. So the remainder is 1/2. So 17 and 1/2 would be the mixed number version. All right, that's it. Good luck with this, guys. See you later.